Hey there, it's MikeMoore. It's that time of the whatever again, and I'm making another factory mod update video. Boy, I've got some things to show you. Now I hear you saying, Mike, are you recording at nighttime again? No, I'm not. There's just a whole bunch of shadows here generated by all these trees. So, first off, before I start showing you what's going on with these trees, I'm going to show you the model I've got working for the miner. It's basically done, but I've sent my model off to a friend to be textured a while back, and he's just taking his time texturing for it, so I'll probably be able to show that off in the next video as a finished product, but for now, you get this recording from Blender. It's gonna be a big, tall motherfucker in that little pipe thing in the middle there. He's going to spin like an auger, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, now I do have a real model to show you this week though, so if we pop over here, you will see the new woodcutter. It's not on yet, because I wanted to show you everything that happens when it turns on. The arms don't move or anything, so don't get your hopes up. But you'll have to ignore the debug messages that pop up in the top left, and I haven't really fleshed everything out yet, so I want to keep them on. But yeah, let's turn this guy on. So immediately you can hear the new sounds that it's emitting when you turn it back off. It has a shutdown sound. Let's turn it back on here. So if we turn it back on, the script starts running, and it takes about 20 seconds for it to start getting these trees here, to start seeing the trees. And if we wait a little bit, you should see... Jump cut! Here we go. It makes a little saw sound, and it cuts down a tree in the radius of the woodcutter and plants a sapling in its place. So yeah, there we go. It automatically finds a tree from anywhere in its range, and it cuts it down, makes that saw sound when it does so, and then the timer starts back up again before it cuts another tree down. So it takes about 20 seconds before it finishes cutting a tree down, and then it just cuts the tree down every 20 seconds, and every time it cuts a tree down, you get 5 logs that get deposited directly into your workbench. Now if you remember when I started showing these trees off in the start of this series, when you punched a tree down, there was about a 70% chance for it to spawn a sapling. But now when this thing cuts it down, there's a 100% chance for it to spawn a sapling, and there's also a 30% chance to spawn an extra tree seed that gets deposited directly into the workbench. I'm probably going to make these tree seeds available as a drop from animals, and maybe just found in stumps and things like that, like piles of leaves that act like containers, just to make sure there's no conflicts with other mods, because I feel like that would be kind of neat, just looking around for stumps and finding natural resources and that kind of thing. But moving on, the pipes when I first implemented them were kind of buggy, and they didn't really 100% work. Sometimes when you remove the pipes, the generators kept What the fuck is wrong with this thing? Do I not have any oil left? Where did I run out of oil? Follow did not like that I just added 25,000 oil to my inventory. No, I have faith in you, Fallout, you can do this. There we go. Here we go. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this again. So moving on, I also finished scripting the pipes so they work like an actual pipeline for transporting fuel for the generators instead of just doing it wirelessly. And Jenna finished getting snapping working with the silo and the pipes, so the pipes actually snap together right to the silo. So that's pretty cool. And you'll see here, if I move this generator away from all the pipes, and it finishes using up all the fuel it had, it turns off. It no longer has fuel because it's not attached to the pipes. And we shove it back in here over where the pipes are. And we wait for it to finish its little timer and it turns back on. It's kind of cool. The silo no longer has to be manually filled, and all the silos take from the workbench supply, so we're basically turning the workbench storage into an in-between that holds your stockpile of resources ready for use. And we're still working on ideas for balancing the silos, like the range that they have and the number of generators they can fuel and that sort of thing, but this is working pretty well so far, so we'll worry about that when balancing becomes important when we're getting close to the finish of the mod. But one of the last things I want to talk to you guys about is the auto outfitter for settlers. Now, I've mentioned the auto outfitter a few times, and I think this is pretty important, and it's going to be next week's goal for me, getting a whole bunch of armor thrown into a chest, and the chest auto-outfits all your settlers in your settlement. But I've got an idea of how to do it, but I don't know exactly how it should work, so I figured instead of racking my mind on what people would like it to do, instead I'll just ask you guys, the people that will be using the mod in the first place. So the easiest solution would just be to grab all of the settlers that are in your settlement and just kind of shove stuff into their inventory. Tag them as no longer needs gear or no longer needs weapons or something like that, and that would work fine, but the thing I'm worried about is how should we decide what gear get put on which settlers, right? What if your settler has like a set of metal armor that he came into your settlement with, and that's better than the mix of cosmetic stuff that you want him to wear, so it just doesn't give them the weaker gear, but if you really want him to have that cosmetic armor, how do we decide which gets put in? Or would you want settlers to just have like a mix of shotguns and bozars, but you can only put one weapon on them at a time, kind of thing? Or what if you want them to just throw in the best possible gear you have? Should there be like a terminal that you can hook up to the outfitter that you can define an outfit with, or an inventory with, or should there be something better? Should you just put in the best possible gear and that's it, nothing complicated? When suggesting how this should work, in your opinion, I want you to keep in mind that this should be fairly simplistic, both because of the way Fallout 4 handles this kind of stuff. It's fairly limited engine-wise, and because the more complicated it is, the more of a pain in the ass it's going to be for you and for me when we eventually start playing this mod for fun. And the engine has trouble with complicated things. The more complicated it is, the longer it's going to take to run the scripts and that kind of thing. You don't want it slowing your game down, right? So just simple is good in this situation, and anything that's really hard to code will also be fighting against my creative willpower, so there's also that. The last thing to note is I'll eventually be creating patches for a few mods that will bring in ranked gear into the crafting system in tiers. I'm not going to go super deep into this, but you'll get like weak weapons at low level stations, and then as you level up the station you can build better and better gear, that kind of thing. But that's pretty far off. I don't want to muddle your minds with that right now. I just want to make you aware that that kind of thing is going to happen, so like something to work towards as you get endgame gear with the mod. I'm also just not entirely sure how we're going to do it either. Originally when we started this mod we thought we were going to make like tiered crafting stations and machines, like the woodcutter for example. We thought we were going to have like a different level of woodcutter for each tier that you leveled up, but now we're just going to do it so you can actually like plug in a workshop item into the woodcutter, and it makes it better, so you can actually like snap it on like you would snap wires onto a machine. And if that upgrade is present, then it makes it more efficient, or it makes it harvest more, or it makes you give you more saplings, or that kind of thing. So that would probably be easier for both parties, the user and the modder. But where I was going with that is, yeah, we change things a lot when we're coming out with this, because we want to make things simple and fun at the same time. So I don't have a whole lot else to say about that. Just keep in mind that things. Oh Jesus Christ! So you go ahead and have yourself a first-rate rest of your week, and I'll be seeing you soon. Later days.